Welcome everyone, it's Whatever here, bringing you APA Academy Season 1 Draft Analysis. Now, first things first, huge shout outs to Panther, not only for setting up this league, but also inviting me to this league. I've been in the Showdown, division for a few seasons now. Feel like I've been doing pretty solid there, and got invited to this, and I thought, you know what, might as well. So, here I am. Also, a huge shout out to Curt for making these draft slides. They look really nice. Thank you for that. I also want to say that I'm so excited for this. I've always wanted to be in a Wi-Fi league, and this kind of gives me that opportunity. So, thank you guys for everything, and let's get into this. So, the Academy is going to be basically the same draft format as Main League. 3 separate drafts. You're going to be playing with your first draft for weeks 1 through 4, second draft for weeks 5 through 8, third draft from 9-12. If you make playoffs, you can choose a legal team off of your previous 3 drafts. So you can mix and match between those drafts to make a legal team. As long as it fits that points criteria, you're all good. It also has free Z users, and that is something I didn't really touch too much on in this draft, but I do feel like I do have a lot of solid Z users in there. So not the best Z user draft, but not the worst either. So I'm pretty happy with that. For this draft, I was given 15th pick out of 16. Pseudo wheel. I usually like that wheel pick. I like that 15, 16. But this time, I didn't really see too much benefit in it like you usually do. I like to get a little bit kind of busted drafts if possible. That way, I can't really choke away a game if my draft's way too busted to get to there. So didn't really get that, but I also didn't really focus on that for this draft. The main focus I had was getting like solid cores. So Fairy Dragon Steel wanted solid, the Fire Water Grass wanted solid there. I was really focusing on more of a bulkier team, something that kind of doesn't really do too much offense, but also isn't terrible at offense. I didn't want to go stall. Definitely didn't want to do that, but I didn't want to go like more bulky offense that I usually do. I wanted to kind of go right round in the middle, kind of have my dedicated walls, dedicated sweepers, etc., etc. Another 2 focuses that I really had this draft also was getting good wish pass because I felt like that's kind of something that not many teams have, and if I can kind of shore that up right now in playoffs, if we make it, it'll be a lot easier to kind of get a team going with those wish passers. I also wanted to get pretty good hazard game. I usually don't draft the best, you know, hazard removal. It usually I just save that for my tier 5, get like a gold bat or something, call it a day. I usually like to try to force people not to set up hazards and then just kind of play around it when they're up. But I really wanted to get good removal this draft because I really kind of been getting messed up about that part. So I wanted to kind of fix it up now, get that going again. So if we do make playoffs, we have solid removal right away. So with that, let's go ahead and with our first pick. Remember, we were 15, and I wanted to get some, and this checks 3 boxes that I had. It's Jirachi. Jirachi, super solid steel type. Probably, I think, one of the best, if it's not like Celesteela, Drill, Jirachi. Those are the 3. It also has hazards. It can set up those rocks. Great wish pass sweeper, so that's 3 checks right there. Perfect for what I was looking for this draft. It also, with Z moves, it can be somewhat of a breaker or a sweeper with like a calm mindset or something like that. But with Z moves, it can kind of break through, one of the mons that it was kind of giving a little bit of trouble with. Now, this thing can be bulky, it can be offensive, but it also can be kind of cancerous with that Serene Grace flinches and everything. We all know what Jirachi does. It can flinch you down, but it can do so much more with it just being a great wall. It can be just really offensive. It can be so much, and that's what main thing I loved about it. But the one thing I wanted was I didn't want Jirachi to be my only, hazard setter or wish passer. So I went with Clefable. And shout out to Panther, Panther and I kind of have this little joke that Clefable always gets crit in APA Showdown. No matter what happens, if you try to set up with Clefable, it's not going to work out too well. Uh, Basically, I got it another rock setter, another wish passer. This thing's annoying. It's got two great abilities, Unaware and Magic Guard. So it's just fat. Great fairy. And, it can do so much by just sitting there and just eating those hits. You know, I don't know how much, like I said, because I don't know how much I trust with the crits and everything, but it can set up, with Magic Guard, when you get set up, there's not much that an opponent can do to like touch you. And so that kind of forces a little bit of prep, especially with the unaware part. That way, I was trying to kind of stray away from setup sweepers on my opponent's time, just to kind of help me out a little bit. And yeah, that's Clefable. After that, it came around to me again, and I had to go with probably one of my favorite mons in the format, which is Scolipede. God, I love Scully. Gotta go fast, In APA, we are allowing speed pass, so you can pass speed as long as it's not with any other stats, which kind of helps my team because my team is not the fastest. Uh, but it also is a great hazard setter. I love this thing because it can be both offensive and great support because Toxic Spikes with Clefable, have fun with that, guys. Toxic Spikes with getting flinched every 2 turns, that's going to be great, Really wear down the opponent. And it's grounded poison in itself, so it can absorb those Toxic Spikes. But also, like with Z moves, it can be a sweeper, and it's probably one of the better sweepers in the format just because of that speed boost ability. If you get a Swords Dance up, this thing can really just go to town, and I love it. One of my favorite mons, so much fun to use. Now with those three, pretty good solid hazard stackers, but I wanted a hazard removal, and I had to dip down to tier 3 because I really wanted to make sure I got good removal. And I also wanted to get spin, so here we have Donphan. So with spin, main thing I got it for is that spin. Super solid ground type, really good move pool. It's kind of thick. It's got like base 120 defense, really good, just solid mon. Donphan, I really just wanted that spin, and here it is. Now, by this time, I was thinking, at first I wanted to get my Jirachi Clefable, and then I really wanted to get a Mega on my third pick. But I didn't really see any Megas I really wanted. Like, Mega Gallade was what I was going to originally try to go for. But Mega Gallade got taken, and of course it should have been taken first round. I think it went first round. But, so I went with Scolipede and Donphan. Now, by the time it came back to me around again for my 5th pick, this Mega was still there, and I couldn't resist, especially because it was one of my, one of my wants for this draft was a solid Fairy Dragon Steel Core, and I got Charizard X, DD and win, just super simple. You just click buttons with this thing. It's just so strong, and can also be so fat, especially with like a Roost set, Will-O-Wisp. Oof, this thing, so much fun. I feel like it's gonna be. It's just so cool looking, first off. And haven't we all learned that the cooler mons are the better mons, But really just click buttons with this thing. Flare Blitz, Outrage, Dragon Claw, Thunder Punch, etc., etc. I love Bulky Zard. You set up a Dragon Dance with Bulky Zard, you could roost off their damage. It's gonna be tough for the opponent. It really is. But it, has really good typing and just kind of like clicks buttons right off the bat. And after I got Zard, I was like, okay, I can't just have Donphan as my removal. So I went to Decidueye. Decidueye, great defogger. Main thing I got it for was that defogger, but it's also great because it's a ghost type, so it blocks other spin. The grass type, so we're starting to get a little bit of ground weakness here. and it has priority. It could do pass. It could be set up with Nasty Plot and Swords Dance. Uh, it could also trap any Pokemon that I kind of having a problem with and kind of get rid of them. And also, its Z move is fire. Sinister Air Raid. I'm definitely clicking that at least once. It's going to happen. And just really solid. Like I said, Ghost Grass, great typing. Uh, just got to make sure we are going to get those hazards off the field for Charizard X. After that, we went with Galvantula. Now, one of the things is my team is not that fast right now. Scolipede really helps out with Speed Pass, but Galvantula definitely helps out as well with, some webs. And webs with Zardex, that's just really scary. Webs with flinches, also really scary. It's just something that's going to force a lot of prep, and that's kind of what my second half of my draft is kind of going for, is this forcing prep. Also, it's fast electric type. We needed that. Could be a solid Z user. Can just like Z Thunder, Z Bug Buzz, Z Energy Ball, etc., etc. Just, it's a web setter. It can volt switch. That's what the spider does. After that, I wanted to get my water type for my fire water grass. And it also happens to be what I think is the best wish passer in the game, and that's Aloe. Now, Fish Sticks is super, super good when not prepped for. Now, I don't expect this to do that well this league because there's a lot of good battlers in this league, and Aloe is just really there for that fat, bulky water, physically defensive, eats hits, Scald, like best move in the game, can wish pass to everybody else. One thing I don't like about Aloe is it is very setup fodder. We're definitely gonna have to deal with that, but I feel like it does add a lot for tier 4 into the rest of my team, which I like. Now, after this, we went with Ditto, and Ditto is another one of those forces prep mons that I was talking about, where you can't really have setup sweepers, not only with my Unaware Clefable, but Ditto, because I could just reverse sweep you with your own mod. It's really good for scouting, really good Pokemon in general. Also, tier 4, pretty solid pickup. I really wanted to make sure that my team was kind of anti-opposing setup. That way, they can't take advantage of my fatter team. It does what a Ditto does. Second to last pick, I got Pangoro. I needed a dark type. I needed a fighting type. I went Pangoro over Scrafty because I liked Parting Shot. Also thought Pangoro was hits a little bit harder also. But it's a pretty good Z user. Got a great move pool. Like this thing's got so much in its move pool, which is awesome. And I feel like when I've ran this before in leagues, I've used it quite a few times as an AV user. And no parting shot for that, but it's just can hit so hard and take quite a few hits, surprisingly. And then with my last pick, tier 5, real simple, I went with Meowstic. Now, I only went with Meowstic because Prankster, tier 5, super simple, can spread T-Wave, can set screens. It's just a really good support mon, and I feel like that's really underrated when you're in tier 5 and you don't have a whole lot of value that you can bring to a team. I feel like Meowstic can really bring a whole lot to this team. And with, spreading that status, it helps again with our speed tiers and all that. You can also do a Trick Room. And it kind of shows that my team isn't. Its speed tiers are not the best, really aren't. I know that, but like I feel like we could work around that with this team, especially with webs. You know, uh, Spreading T waves around, speed pass, body slam paras, etc., etc. So yeah, that's my first draft for APA Academy Season 1. It looks like a whole lot of fun, honestly. Like, this team looks like so much fun. I was having so much fun drafting it, and I'm super excited for this season. Alright, guys. See you later.